Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolebarger and it's time for our KFIR Middle East update for this week, the week of April 6th. And once again, in order to get the most out of this, we encourage you to go to our website at holygroundexplorations.com and click the blog button, and you'll find the PDF PowerPoint that accompanies this YouTube video. Again, this is the week of April 6th. Headlines. According to Israeli military data, March was the calmest month for Palestinian terrorism since last November. 5 shootings, 8 stabbings, 2 car rammings took place in March in Judea and Samaria and the Jerusalem area. Now, to give you an idea, for comparison's sake, there were 62 attacks or attempted attacks that were recorded in October of 2015, 48 in November, 45 in December, 26 in January, and 30 in February. And so just as a reminder, 5 shootings, 8 stabbings, and 2 rammings that took place. So definitely the calmest month. It is affecting tourism in Israel, and I thought I would just at least go on record to show the trend. Now, the second thing is, with everything that's taken place in Brussels, the craziness of the world in which we live, the response to the terror attacks in Brussels was not to do anything about the mosque, but Brussels has decided to shut down all the Jewish synagogues. Once again, go figure. And then this was reported, and once again, just a reminder is that we're giving you the Middle East through the lenses of Israel, not your local media outlets or your national media outlets. So I'm not sure that you knew of this report, but there was a Muslim that was killed for, quote, loving infidels. His name was Asad Sharah. He was a much-loved local shopkeeper in Glasgow, and he was brutally murdered hours after wishing his Christian customers a happy Easter on Facebook, and what police are treating as a religiously motivated crime. Once again, it's just important to get a broader scope of information. Food for thought, we've spoken and will continue to speak out against anti-Semitism. Just from an Israeli perspective, granted this is a right-winger, but let me read Stephen Schamark's report or definition. Anti-Semitism is the world's most powerful superglue. It unites most of the causes. It even brings together mortal enemies, no matter how desperate or ugly they may be. It invokes and perpetuates the darkness of jealousy and hate. It spreads like maggots on a dead body of sick societies who must be grateful for existence, must be grateful for the existence of the Jews, because without the Jews, most of them would have destroyed each other a long time ago. Let it pause, reflect. And then I put this under April Fools. We've spoken a lot about the situation in Israel regarding a 2-state solution and the pressure that's going to continue to be applied upon Israel to make this happen. And despite the knifings, which we'll talk about, and all of those sort of things. Well, I put this under April Fools. and primarily because it came out on April Fool's. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas said on Thursday that he was working hard to stop Palestinian knife attacks and other street violence against Israel, and he is now offering to meet with Netanyahu to rekindle peace efforts. And as I mentioned before, everything that I know that's taken place regarding the brainwashing of Palestinian children. Why now? Why is he coming out now and basically talking about an olive branch? Well, to talk a little bit more about that, Abbas, you'll see on the pictures the knives that are held in a hand, and Abbas has rejected the charge that he incites terror, speaking in a rare interview on Israel's Channel 2 television last Thursday. He said, "Our security forces, we go in to our local schools, we search bags to see if they have knives." I guess you probably don't know about that. In one school, we found 70 students with knives in their bags. And you know what we tell them? We tell them, we don't want you to die. We want you to live, and we want other people to live. This is the olive branch that's being held out. So right when we hear about that, what happens next? You know about, whether you believe it or not, about Lee Harvey Oswald, our Sirhan, the assassinations of the Kennedys. Can you imagine declaring a holiday on their birthdays? Well, this is what's going on in Palestine. Fatah, I hate to even use the word Palestine, at this particular time. The Palestinian Authority has honored a female terrorist that was responsible for one, if not the worst terror attack in Israel history. It's naming a girls' basketball tournament after Dalal Mughrabi, who took place in a coastal road massacre. And I think it's important that you understand that this so-called now Shahid, this warrior princess, this hero, what they did was kill 38 civilians, 13 of them were children, and they wounded over 70 people as they hijacked a bus on a beach near Tel Aviv. And I saw a video of this woman in prison, and her only regret was that she couldn't kill more children. And so over the years, the terrorists that have died in the firefights with the Israel security forces have been hailed, as you know, as heroes by Fatah. But the Palestinian Media Watch reported on Wednesday that in Ramallah, a school for girls has named their basketball tournament the Dalal Mughrabi Cup in honor of the killer. So you figure it out. A two-state solution, remember, has nothing to do with the size or the allocation of lands. It has everything to do with the existence of Israel. A couple other things to report on. Let's talk a little bit about Iran, give you a bit of an update there, right, since we're dealing with craziness. Obama says that the Iran nuclear deal has been successful so far, but more work needs to be done to implement it. When they launch ballistic missiles with slogans calling for the destruction of Israel, that makes businesses nervous, Obama stated. And when Iran continues to ship missiles to Hezbollah, that also makes businesses nervous. Well, Paul Ryan, who's recently been in Israel, House of Representative Paul, Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, when he heard this, made the quotes, These reports are deeply concerning, to say the least, he said in a statement, as Iran continues to undermine the spirit of its nuclear agreement with illicit ballistic missile tests. The Obama administration seems to be going out of its way to help Tehran open or reopen for business. The president needs to abandon this idea. And the only reason, well, one of the reasons I share this is because there's such a hesitancy in the Obama administration to speak out against any sort of Islamic terrorism. Can't use those words, jihadist or whatever. And so you just try to want to make sense out of all this. How can we be backing the Iranians when they're writing on their missiles death to Israel, or when they are there's a constant supply of rockets that are given to Hezbollah with the express purpose to kill Jews, and yet somehow we're supposed to believe that this is a great deal and we need to build Iran back up and welcome them into the global community. Once again, I don't claim to be a genius in all of this, but some of this stuff just seems to be absolutely insane. Well, speaking of insanity, two other things. This is just tragic. Hamas last Friday publicly acknowledged for the first time that they were holding 4 Israelis, 2 alive and 2 dead. The group published photos of the 4, 2 of them slain soldiers, Oran Shaul and Hadar Goldin, that were killed in the Operation Protective Edge, and their bodies were taken in order to exact payment, prisoner swaps. I think the hardest thing in all of this is the fact that they take these dead bodies, and then especially because we know Oran Shaul, we were with him on one of the Golani bases, and they actually sent a letter to the parents in his name, claiming to be alive, asking, please help me. Israel has told us all along in the IDF that we'll never be left alone. They'll do everything to get us back, but it doesn't seem to be that anybody's doing anything about it. Please help me, Mom, Dad, etc. And all along, it's a body, it's a dead body, and to raise false hopes. And so the question is, what will be negotiated? What will be given? There are 2 Israelis that are alive. Tragically, they are unstable. They actually climbed the fences to get into Gaza. And just so you know, once again, with the over 1,000 prisoners that were released in the Gilad Shalit deal, I guess you would call it, you can understand why it works so well for Hamas to do whatever they can to kidnap Israelis, because what they get in return. But just this sick aspect of what's transpired, once again, usually not reported anywhere else, but you need to know these things. And then finally, social media. You have to see the pictures. Once again, go to the website. But according to, this is Facebook, according to the blogger Soat Aman, he published the traditional Passover blood libel earlier this week as, quote, straight news in his investigation outlet. The outlet explained that since medieval times, Jews have used the blood of young children to make Passover matzah, adding that today Israel imports children from Brazil for the same purpose. It claimed, too, that Israeli Arabs live in constant fear during this time, during the weeks leading up to Passover, afraid that their children will be kidnapped and murdered by Jews in preparation for the holiday. So he writes that in his blog. and then he posted it on Facebook. So this Saud Oman posts the article on Facebook illustrating, you see the picture, with the medieval Christian illustrations of Jews practicing this bloody ritual. Now, what's crazy in all of this is that Facebook's response, by not pulling it, means that accusing Jews of murdering Arabs and Christian children to eat their blood and is not a violation of Facebook's so-called community standards. Now, once again, as I've said often, you just wonder if the tables were turned, if there were articles that promoted this sort of anti-Semitism against Muslims, or this hatred, or these lies, or this libel. You wonder what would take place. I think you know. I think it's already been demonstrated worldwide what takes place when anybody dares to criticize Muhammad. So anyhow, the world we live in, as believers, we need to be like the sons of Issachar, understanding our times and being about our Father's business. As for me, my house, we've chosen at this time to make a stand, to stand with Israel, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And we pray that these short presentations will inform others to make that same decision. So God bless you.